Assalamu alaikum everybody, and welcome to Easy Halal Cooking. We are going to be making eggplant lasagna. It is so yummy, and you can make large portions or small portions. That's what's so wonderful about this recipe. Here are the ingredients, and I'll go over them with you one by one. Okay, here is 1 pound of ground lamb, and you also can use beef. I've never tried chicken. You can try it if you like, but I would try lamb or beef before you try chicken. You will need tomatoes. I use the big ones because they're easier to use than the grater and faster. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And I'm only making enough for 2 people. So you will have to double that when you're making for a large amount of people. Here is a medium onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and 2 eggplants. I'll be using only 1.5. You got your grater and a bowl, and salt to taste, seasoned salt, garlic powder, oregano, parsley, and flour. So these will all come together soon. And then you will need a deep cooking pan. I like to use the oven roast. It's one of like my favorite things to do, my oven cooker. So you can use it, or you can use just a regular deep dish, so don't assume you have to run out and get one. I just love using mine. And you'll also need a saucepan, and this is for the cheese sauce that will go over everything. I'm going to cut everything and be back soon with everything and get everything started. Okay, we are on the next step. We are going to start on getting the sauce prepared. What I have done is I put my stove on medium, and I put 2 teaspoons of olive oil. You're able to use vegetable oil, but I prefer olive oil. It just gives it a better taste. Okay, so what we will do here is I let it warm up just a little bit. You don't want it to where it's bubbling and ready to fry your onions and your garlic. You kind of just want to cook them and not turn them brown. Okay, so what I'll do is I will put my onions in there, and what I didn't say before, you are, if you do not have a garlic press, you can chop them up. Just chop them up really fine. Okay, so I'll just do this and get my garlic in there. And put my other, and if you like more garlic, it's to how you want to do it, but I've always used 2, not to put too much garlic in there, because sometimes you can make it too garlicky, and I definitely don't want that. So I will let that start getting cooked just a little, and then after it cooks about a few minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, and it starts, you hear the simmering of it, I will add the tomato sauce, and then I will cover it, and I'll let it cook for about 30 to 40 minutes to get the tomato to, get more thicker and less watery. And then we will, after that happens, we will move to the next step to our process. Yes, this is a long recipe, but trust me, it is so worth it, and you will totally love it. Okay, so now we're starting to hear the sound of simmering. You'll let it simmer for a few minutes, not too long. You don't want it to have color at all. You just kind of want to cook it down and get the juices from the bottom. You never want to turn anything brown, because it will give it like a chalky, burnt taste, and we definitely don't want that. So you really want to stay on top of it. Don't walk away. Always stay on top of it. So I'm going to keep stirring this for a few seconds and let it sit for... I love the smell of onion and garlic. So anyway, after I let it sit for a few minutes, I will add the tomato sauce, and get it all out of there because I need every inch of it. So there you go. And then you want to just mix it really well. And then now the only thing you'll do is wait for 30 to 40 minutes and just let it steam and cook, and we'll be back after it's done. See you shortly. So I uncovered it. It's been about 5 minutes and I added the seasonings to it. I used a teaspoon of oregano and a teaspoon of parsley. Be careful with the oregano. Do not put more than a teaspoon because it can overpower your dish and it'll be not a good flavor. Also, I used a tablespoon of seasoned salt, and I used a teaspoon of garlic powder. Even though I used cloves in it, I just kind of like to use garlic powder. It doesn't give it a strong flavor like garlic salt would. But anyway, I put it in there and I'm going to cover it again, and this time it will sit for about 20 minutes, and then we will go in and we will add the meat. Okay, so now we're back, and after 20 minutes, this is what it looks like. It's looking really good. Now we're going to add the lamb and get that put in there. And now you want to lower it and lower the temperature on your oven, and then you just kind of want to work it in there. I want all the flavors, even all the flavors of the meat. I don't want to just cook the meat separately. I want them to be cooked all together so we even get the juices from the meat. So I will want to break it all down so it's in the little pieces. And then what I do here is I kind of go back and I put maybe another tablespoon of seasoned salt, and I try maybe a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, and I just kind of work it in there. It's kind of as your taste. People like to add salt. We do that, but we add the salt in the next step that we're gonna have to do. So I try not to make it too salty, and but I'm going to cover this and let it sit for another 5 or 10 minutes until the meat gets cooked, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so I want to show you what it looks like when it's finished, and here is the end of the process. Yes, it looks a lot of watery, but don't worry about it, because when we start putting it together, we will start draining it and it will start looking a lot better. Okay, so now I have my frying pan because we are going to start frying the eggplant, and I used sunflower oil. You can use anything that you like. You can use vegetable oil. I used to use vegetable oil, but we kind of just started doing sunflower oil, see if we like the taste better. Okay, so here is my eggplant. I cut it and cut it in pieces, and I cut it in good enough sized pieces for to layer the lasagna with. I also got me flour and I put salt in it, and you want to not put too much salt because you can actually make it too salty because of this. I just put enough salt in there for taste. And what you'll do is you'll just go like this, and you'll just place it into the oil. And I try to, you know, push a little of the flour off because it will start, you know, gucking up into the frying pan. And I just put about 4 in there. And this is what you'll keep on doing over and over until you get enough eggplants. This is, like I said, 1.5 eggplants. I use the bigger pieces, and these are the smaller pieces. And what I'm going to do with these is, you can put them in water and keep them in your refrigerator for about 3 days and then reuse them, or you can freeze them. I always freeze my vegetables. I like that. So you will keep on doing this until you finish all the process. Get you a plate. Okay, get you a plate and put a paper towel over it, and this will help you drain the excess oil. And you're just going to flip it, and you're just going to make it a little brown on top of each side, and then you're going to take it off. You just kind of want to cook it a little through, and that is it. And it'll cook most of in the oven. I'll see you in a minute. I finished frying the eggplants. It is golden and soft. If they are a little crispy, it's okay. You still can use them and they will soften up. So to our next step will be the sauce. The cheese sauce. You will need unsalted butter, and if you're making a bigger portion, you're going to need a full stick of butter. I only have 4 teaspoons here. You need cream cheese, and it can be any kind of cream cheese. This is just the one we got from the halal store. And you will need flour, milk, seasoned salt, and garlic powder. So you will put your butter inside and let it melt. And I'm going to turn the stove down just a little bit. And you'll need a whisk, or some kind of like a sauce spoon or anything that will help you stir. Even if you have a metal dish and you want to use a fork, you can, just to get the clumps out. I'm gonna let that, you want to get that all melted, and I'm only going to use 2 of these, and I actually only use 2 of these exactly when I am making a big portion too. I believe this is 2 teaspoons. So we will get that melted. This one I will show the whole thing because I need to walk you through it. If anybody's ever made like Alfredo sauce, it's kind of the same scenario. Even cheese sauce. I mean, that's what we're making, is cheese sauce to put on our eggplant lasagna. So we'll get that all melted. You want to make sure all of it's melted, and then you will start adding your flour. And you want enough flour in there to kind of make it a paste. So I am not, I need more. And I always do this like from just looking. I never really measure things out, but this is what you're coming. You want it to be clumpy, just like this. This is perfect. So perfect. Okay, then you will add your milk. And you want to put a little bit of milk in at a time, never too much. And then you will stir it in there like this. Ooh, it's getting everywhere. And see, now it's starting to work itself in. And you want it to be a little thick because it will kind of get hard when it's cooking in the oven, and it'll be easier to cut, and it will just look like a beautiful beautiful picture when it's done. I want to get that. Okay. And put a little bit more. Sorry about that. Okay. to. And you don't want to walk away from it ever. You want to stay next to it at all times and work with it, because you can get it to where it clumps and it will be a mess. So you always want to just keep stirring. And you also can leave it for a second, let it sit and stir it. It depends on the thickness you want. I want it thick, but I also want it a little runny, so that when I am putting it on the layers, it will be easy to put on. It won't be so thick. And I also want it to thicken when it's heating in the oven. So it's getting sticky down there. So I'm gonna add a little bit more milk. I'm not adding very much to this because it's not a big portion for me. It's not like my normal portions that I normally do. We are trying to make smaller portions. I'm still working on it, trying to get it to the thickness I want it to be. When you're doing this, you will feel how it's starting to build up on the bottom. Okay, so now I will add the cheese. And sometimes this can be a lot of work, because you're really gonna have to you know, put effort into trying to get this cheese to melt completely without having, you know, clumps. But after a while, if you can get in it when it's warm, it will melt easily. So try not to put the cheese in too soon, because if you do, it won't melt and you'll be fighting lumps. Okay, you see how it's thickening up? It's beautiful. That's what we want. I want it to get okay. You want it where it's a good thickness or looseness, whatever you prefer. Me and my husband prefer it thick, so it will harden up while it's being put in the oven. And while I was doing this, I put the oven on 375. And now I will add, you should add like 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. You don't want to overwhelm it, but just enough to give it some taste. And then I always put just 1 teaspoon in there, just to give it a little bit more flavor. And then I always check it. That's really good. And it's not too strong, because you don't want it strong, because you will be adding cheese on top of it when you're done. Okay, so this one is finished. That's it. That's all you do. It's finished. Now let's go to the layering. Okay, this is what I'm going to use. So I evidently got grease on the bottom of it. Anyway, this is what I'm going to use. It's kind of funny, but yes, I'm using a bread pan. It's just, like I said, it's just me and my husband. Okay, so I will layer like this. Layer your eggplant. And then I'm going to start putting on everything. Okay, like I said, you need to get a spoon that has holes in it, so you can drain out the meat. And then you will just layer it on like this. And you can put as much as you want or as little as you want, but we kind of like it meaty here. Okay, and then I'm also going to get a spoon for this so that I can put it on there. So basically it's just layering at this process right now. And I also like to use my leftovers for other things as well, so I'm going to start doing some soups soon because it's getting colder. I hope you will check them out. They are so yummy. And what's really good about this dish is we make it there in Ramadan and it's really filling. Yes, it can be a little greasy because of the eggplants. So you just layer it like this with the cheese. And you will do this even with a big portion. And my aunt like totally loved this stuff when I brought it to her house. She wanted the recipe so bad. And I told her, you know, how to make it. And I thought I would share it with other people because it is really good. So I'm gonna fill it up to the top. Okay, and you know, you can drain it as much as you want. It's up to you. We kind of like it like this. Okay, so there you go. And then you can, I will put a few on the top, and then I'm just gonna put cheese on top of this as well. So, and I'll just put some more cheese. Just put it on there, and then I will put it in the oven, and I will let it sit in the oven for about 15 minutes and let it cook, and then I will add shredded cheese on top of it. So it's been in for 15 minutes, so I'm going to put the cheese on it and see how. And this is to your liking. I don't really ever get the cheese to where it's boiling on top. Just enough to melt it is good enough for us. I'll put it in for another 5 minutes, let the cheese melt, and it will be done. And I let it sit for, you know, around 15-20 minutes. It kind of depends on if you like your food hot or you like it cooled down or just warm. I'll see you shortly. So I took it out of the oven and voila, it is finished. I'm going to let it sit for a while. My husband will be home until about 30 minutes, so it will sit there until it's time to eat. It is a long process, but it's so yummy and so worth it. And I would suggest trying it and give me feedback. Tell me what you think about it. I totally love it. I eat it with bread. Well, you know, like, subscribe. I will be promoting more videos, and I hope that you like it. And please, you know, let me know. I'm sorry that my son was screaming and he's asleep now, but salam, have a good day, and I will see you later.